Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. I hope you're all having a great day so far. So today's video is going to be a Q&A. I asked you guys on Instagram if I should do a clothing haul or a Q&A first, or which one you wanted to see first, and a Q&A one just by a little bit. So I decided to film a Q&A today, but I do have a clothing haul coming out for you guys soon too. So all of you who wanted that first, that will be out to you in the near future. I have been shopping a lot, so I have some exciting things to show you guys, but I understand you want a Q&A first, so that is what is coming today. Real quick, I just want to say if you're new to my channel, then welcome. Thank you so much for clicking on today's video. My name's Olivia and I do videos on motherhood and style, lifestyle stuff, I guess, like all sorts of things. Everything from like cleaning videos and organization videos to clothing hauls, fashion try-on hauls, and like style tips, and also baby essentials. So I'm a little bit of a mixed bag, but I'm excited to have you guys here today. And without further ado, let's get into the Q&A. I also just have to mention, if you're familiar with this setup, you probably know I usually have my dream catcher back here and it fell down. So it's on the ground and I couldn't find a command hook in enough time to film this video. Life is crazy, so hopefully I can get that back up, but I feel like a little bit naked not having my dream catcher back here, so just had to mention that. Oh my gosh, so funny. So the first question I see on my screen is, what is your Enneagram? And I actually just did an Enneagram, I think I'm saying that word right, but I just did a workshop for that today. I'm gonna pull up my results right now so I can read you guys what I got, but it was like pretty spot on. So I am a type 7. They explained it as the entertaining optimist. So if you guys are familiar with my channel or with me, I think you could say that's pretty spot on. The description went into how like you're optimistic, you're positive, you try and see the bright things in life, you try and swing things to have like find the silver lining, find a positive point of view, but at the same time, you like have this internal fear of FOMO, or this internal FOMO, which is so accurate to me as well. So it's all about how you're a positive person, but like oftentimes you're worried about, or for me at least, like I'm worried about pleasing other people and potentially missing out on something or not being included in something. And if you know me, you know I have FOMO. Like I'm very open about my case of FOMO. It's all the time, it's ever existent. I need to be included with my friends. If I'm not included in a conversation with my friends or anything like that, I'm very open. I'm like, FOMO guys, fill me in. And so I just thought that was so funny, like spot on, really accurate, and so funny to have that asked because I just found that out this morning. What other names did you have picked out besides Christian? So funny enough, we had none. We actually had no other backup baby names. Jordan and I knew we wanted to name our son Christian like from the time we started dating. I have a note in my phone from like years ago that like before we were even close to getting pregnant, where I wrote down his name and I wanted it to be Christian. We wanted to have like our firstborn be a boy. I don't know why. We just always knew we wanted to name him that because it is his brother's middle name. Christian's named after his uncle John, his godfather, and John is the one who Jordan and I met through him. So if we ever have another baby, then we got to start from scratch. But yeah, kind of funny. Like we didn't go back and forth or anything. It was like as soon as we found out we were pregnant, we were like, okay, if it's a boy, we'll name him Christian. And we found out it's a boy and we're like, okay, it's Christian. Along those same lines, I got a lot of questions about baby number 2. That is always the hottest topic whenever I do a Q&A. People always want to know when we're having a second baby. I don't blame you guys. I actually talked about it in my last Q&A video. I've done a couple of these videos now, so I'll have that up here so that you can check it out and see what my answer was then. I also got the question how many kids we want to have. So I think I've talked about that in past Q&As as well, but we have settled on the number 3 for now. 3 sounds really good to us. I know I've talked about it before, but I'm an only child and I would love for my kids to have multiple siblings too, and I finally got Jordan on board with 3. So if it were up to me, I could honestly like have kids over and over and over again. Like I would probably be that person with like 6 kids, but we gotta reel it in and be realistic because we live in Southern California and it's expensive here. So I think we've settled on 3. That feels like a good fit for us. Any plans to buy a house in SoCal? Yeah, we would love to. We're actually currently saving for a house, so we're currently renting. And to be totally honest with you guys, if you ever see sponsored content from me, if you see sponsored videos, if you see ads on Instagram, anything like that, all of that is going in our house saving fund. So yeah, we are saving right now. We would love to buy a house, but it's honestly crazy what houses cost out here versus in the Midwest where we're from, or even in Texas where our family lives or anything like that. They're just expensive. So you need a really big down payment. So hopefully it's a goal of ours that in the next couple years we would like to buy, but We also just know that based on our location, we may not be able to own property as soon as some of our other friends are as well. And that's fine, but we are saving. With pumping, have you tried the Haka? I think that's how you pronounce it. I never tried that brand, but I did have one really similar. Like, it looks basically exactly the same, and I got it on Amazon. I liked it a lot. Like I said, I can't speak to the Haka in particular. The one I got on Amazon I did like, but honestly the Milk Saver was it for me. Like, I loved that thing, and I preferred that over like the Haka version that I had. I like the Milk Saver because I could just put it on my boob and like set it there and not do anything. I didn't have to hold it, I didn't have to pump it, nothing. And it just like effortlessly collected milk. I wish I would have just bought 2 of them and worn them on both sides, because another question I got in here was about if I ever leaked postpartum. Did you leak with breastfeeding? How did you manage it while looking put together? So yeah, I leaked a lot. I actually had a really high supply of milk. I still have a decent supply of milk for nursing at almost 15 months, but I leaked a ton in the beginning, and those Milk Savers really helped me manage it, as well as nursing pads. Like, hook yourself up with boxes and boxes of nursing pads. I would keep them at the changing station. I'd keep them in the bathroom next to the bed, because I was always leaking in the bed too. It is crazy. I actually think I had an oversupply now that I think about it. But nursing pads and then some sort of milk catcher like that will really, really help. What is some advice you wish you would have gotten about motherhood? I wish I would have gotten the advice to not stress the advice. So when I was pregnant, and even now still, like, there are so many opinions about motherhood, and especially if you're a mom, I'm sure you've heard it from your mom, from your sisters, from your friends, from people you know who are moms, from coworkers. Like, you get opinions on how to do everything all over the place. And I know I've talked to you guys before about how like unsolicited advice is one of my pet peeves. And when I was pregnant, it really overwhelmed me. And like coming into motherhood as a new mom, it really overwhelmed me, and it really would get me down. You can imagine putting myself on YouTube and putting my motherhood journey on YouTube. Like, I still get a ton of opinions and a ton of people not liking certain things I'm doing or telling me I'm doing something wrong. I wish somebody would have told me going into this that, like, do you. It's okay. Take what you need. Let go of what you don't. Don't let the advice get you down. Like, there's no one right way of doing it all. You have to find the way that's best for you. And even now, as we enter the toddler stage, like, I don't know what I'm doing, and I can take advice from people all I want, but like, that might not work for me and Christian, and that might not work for his temperament and for our lifestyle. So I just wish, when I was pregnant, I wish people would have told me, like, just kind of like, take it and then don't feel like you have to keep it with you, because it like seriously would get me down. And it's just like, at the end of the day, it's not a big deal. Like, you do you, you do what's best for you and your baby. And if people are giving you advice and it's stressing you out, like, just let it go. Just don't worry about it, because there's a lot of opinions in the world. There's a lot of advice out there, and there's no way we're going to be able to please everybody. So you have to just live in a way that's best and happiest and healthiest for you. What was the biggest thing that contributed to your weight loss? So I actually got a few questions about how I lost the weight post-baby. I have a couple videos on it, so I'll see if I can link those down below, and I'll put one up here as well. Honestly, breastfeeding contributed the most to it, and I hate that answer. Like, I'm not gonna lie. One, that is like, I feel like that's us like not thinking of how we can be our healthiest selves. But 2, if you can't breastfeed, you still want to lose the baby weight. And so all those people who are formula feeding, like, that tip doesn't apply to them. So I don't care for saying that myself, but I have to be honest, like, my weight plummeted the most when I was breastfeeding and pumping a ton. And then as soon as I started, like, I haven't weaned Christian, but now that he's in daycare, like, I'm not breastfeeding as much. I nurse him like in the morning, I nurse him in the afternoon, maybe when he gets home, if he's in the mood for it, and then like before bed. And it made me start putting on weight. So today I actually posted about how I gained a few pounds, and that, honestly, that weight gain was from slowing down on breastfeeding. So that's how I know it contributed to it. But aside from that, like, just eating healthy and working out, my body is really receptive to junk food, and it's really receptive to a lack of movement. So what I mean is that if I'm not working out and I'm eating like crap, I put on weight. And when I'm diligent about those things and I'm careful about what I'm eating, and I'm just not eating like all the things I want to eat, like, I'm just more mindful about it, I'm able to stay a little more like trim. So yeah, and I am a huge advocate of working out. Like, I actually really love it and crave it. It's like a drug for me. So obviously that helped me stay in shape too. Not saying that drugs should help you stay in shape, but working out will help you stay in shape. Ooh, this is a good one. What to ask for is gifts for first birthday. So this is such a good question, because it's like, what do you get a kid when they're 1? I feel like around that time is when Christian really started having an interest in a lot of like little toys, and toys he could carry and move around, or toys he could like open up and put things in compartments and stuff like that. So one of his favorite toys is actually this barn that came with all these little farm animals. That toy is actually a hand-me-down from one of our neighbors, and he loves it. So anything like that I think would be really good. I got on a kick for a while there when Christian was in like the 7-8 month, somewhere around there, where I would buy him like baby laptops and baby cell phones, because he always wanted my laptop and cell phone, and I thought that would fix it. It didn't. He knows the difference. He's not interested. But anything like that he can use his hands with and like figure out how to make it work, other than just like putting some blinking buttons in front of him. Like, he likes things like that a lot. So I would recommend something like that. Also clothes. Like, Christian got a ton of outfits for his first birthday, and he got them in the next size up, and it was so helpful, because then when he grew into that size, so now he's wearing 18 months, and when he grew into that size, we already had like a whole stash of clothes as gifts from his birthday too. So that is really helpful too. Oh, breastfeeding, how are you keeping your supply good? Aunt Flo yet? So yeah, my period actually came back 12 months postpartum. It took a whole year to come back. And funny enough, it came back on the day of Christian's first birthday party. I was like, really? Like, I was getting so anxious about it coming back, and then it came back that morning. I think I had just like worked myself up, and like my body just knew he was like on to that next chapter. It was crazy. But so Aunt Flo is back in town, and breastfeeding's going good. Like I mentioned, like, we're still breastfeeding, but Christian is starting to lose interest a little bit. So, you know, it's like I said, like, when he comes home from daycare, he may nurse, he might not. It depends on his mood. Sometimes he would rather have human food. Sometimes he will chug a bottle of like cashew almond milk, but he's not really interested in nursing from me. And other times he wants to nurse from me and use me like a human pacifier. So it just depends. But at this point, it's like totally comfort for him. It's like his way of bonding with me. I love it. It's still going well. But yeah, we'll see how far we can make it. This is not a question, but just wanted to tell you how much I love you and adore Christian. Thank you so much. That is so nice. I can't believe the support I get here from all of you guys. I know this is not me answering a question, but I just have to say it. Like, it is unbelievable. I think it's pretty crazy that I can make these videos and connect with people all over that I haven't gotten a chance to meet in person yet, but like, I just want you guys to know I really, really value it, and it means a lot to me that you guys are so invested in me and in my son, and like, you love him the same way I love him, and like, you have your own little ones that are like little virtual friends with him, and I just think that's super cool. So thank you guys so much. Do you have a video for traveling with an infant? I do. I have two. I will have one up here, and I'll put them both in the description box as well. Traveling with an infant, the struggle is real, so I have tips for you guys. Advice for a first-time mom who's got no family living by. I feel you, girlfriend. So my advice would be to lean on those who you do have around you, and like form your own local family. So my friends that live near me now have become my support system. They've become my family, and it's funny enough, I even don't see them that much, but I chat with them all the time. And then aside from that, like, I chat with my sister-in-law in Austin all the time. We are texting all day long, 24/7. Like, we always have just a constant conversation going. Like, call your parents, call your people who don't live near you, and just lean on them in a way, even if it's not physically. And then lean on the people who are nearby you, and try and build those relationships, especially if they have kids. Sometimes that's like the way to bond you guys too. Aside from that, like for childcare, we used care.com to find a really amazing girl, and then we used Yelp to find a great daycare near us. So use your resources. Like, honestly, it's kind of amazing the people we've been able to meet just through technology, and which makes sense because I know that's like how people date now, and not back in the day when Jordan and I got together, but like, it's kind of crazy how much you can use the internet and resources at your disposal to set yourself up for a life of support, but it's true. So use things like that. I also know, I I should know this. I don't know though. I think like Bumble, or there's apps like that where you can like meet friends too. And I haven't done it in the past, but I've heard people have, and like I think that's super cool as well. I mean, be careful, but still cool. How long did it take you to bounce back after giving birth, and what steps did you take? So it took me 4 months to lose the baby weight. So I had lost all of the baby weight at 4 months postpartum, and then I continued to lose weight after that. So I gained 30 pounds when I was pregnant, and I lost 40 total. And then I gained 5 back when I started like slowing down on breastfeeding. So I was still like at a 35-pound deficit from when I gave birth. And so it took time. I mean, it took 4 months to lose it all. And then, like I said, my body's even still morphing now. So I don't even consider myself like bounced back. I'm not gonna lie. Like yes, I lost the weight, but mentally I'm not the same person. Emotionally, I'm not the same person. Physically, I'm definitely not. Like I lost the weight, but my body is totally different now than it was before having a baby. And that's okay. Like, it's okay if we never feel like we bounce back. You know, this is the new us, and it's great. And I don't know if I necessarily want to go back to the way I was before baby. In terms of talking about losing the weight, it did take a few months. And as far as as far as steps I took, I just got really specific about like what I was eating and when I was working out. Like I said before, like I am somebody who I could sit down and smash a plate of cheese and crackers and then finish it with a donut and like life would be made, but that's not gonna leave me feeling the best. So instead I have like some green bean snaps, and then I have a salad, and like I try and find healthy alternatives to my desserts because I'm not giving up chocolate and I need my sweets, but I need like a healthy version of them. So just trying to make smarter choices with the food I'm eating, and then like making sure I'm being physically active at the same time. How did you start your channel, and what's your advice for someone who wants to start? So I started my channel just by like sitting down and filming videos and teaching myself how to edit. And I didn't even have Final Cut back then. I was using like a Windows editing software or something, which is fine because you have to pay for Final Cut. But my advice for somebody who wants to start it is just to do it. I wish I would have started YouTube so much sooner than I did. I thought about making a channel for years before I finally did. And honestly, like I look at some of these people who have been able to make a living from this, and I wonder if that could have been me if I would have just pulled the trigger when I wanted to, and instead of being so afraid. So do it. Like if you're afraid, just do it. Just sit down, pull out your iPhone, pull up a webcam, get like a little camera and film a video, and like teach yourself how to edit, and use iMovie or invest in Final Cut. A lot of people give the advice to invest in equipment, and I would recommend the same, although I don't want to put too much pressure on it because like honestly, cameras are super expensive. I have a ring light, but I don't have a whole setup. Like I don't have big lights or room for a big setup. So I don't think you necessarily have to do that, but be smart about where you're investing, and don't invest in, you know, maybe don't invest in like a $3,000 camera if you don't have anywhere with a decent background to film. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, and don't invest in like a huge beauty guru like background if you're gonna use your iPhone to film. Like that doesn't really make sense. So just be smart about where you are investing the money if you are, and like just pull the trigger and just go for it and do it and put yourself out there, because you'll be glad you did. Ooh, this is a good one. How have you handled baby fever this past year, if you've had any? Such a good question. And I've had baby fever, and girl, it passed. It's gone. So I got really bad baby fever right around the time Christian turned a year, because I think it's a big phase. It's a big change. And I was like, oh my gosh, my baby's a year, and the months are like, the monthly countdowns are gone or whatever, you know, like it was making me so sad. And I was like, I'm ready for another one, Jordan. I want another one. And like, then Christian hit his next growth spurt at like 13 months, and we traveled, and he was thrown off his schedule, and he started daycare, and the baby fever went away. I was like, no, you know, I'm good. Like, this is a new chapter we are in. This is a new phase, and I want to tackle this. And it's just, he became a little monster for a little while. I'm not gonna lie. Like, I'm always chatting with one of my girlfriends about how like we have boys similar ages, or they're basically the same age, and like I'm always talking with her about how like we love our kids, but we can also be like driven crazy by them at the same time. And I feel like that's what motherhood's all about. And Christian went through a phase of like driving me a little crazy, like testing my patience and just being a whack job. And now it's like he's my sweet little angel boy again. But that his little like growth spurt awful phase made, I hate to say that because he's my son, but you guys know what I mean. But that phase made all the baby fever go away. So if you're having baby fever but you're not quite there yet, I would just say this too shall pass. And if it doesn't, then go for it, girl. Oh, this was a good one. I noticed your hands shake in your videos. Would you share why? So yeah, my hands, you can probably see it right now. I think they're gonna shake a little bit. Yeah, my hands shake. They shake like all the time. So I have a natural hand tremor. So what that means is that my hands just shake on their own. Like it's just like a natural part of my nervous system. I've actually gone to the doctors for it. I've seen a neurologist for it. I've gone to like my regular primary care physician for it. And it's hereditary. So my mom's hands shake a little bit too. Like it just runs in my family. It does make me like a little bit more sensitive to medication. So as a teenager, I know I've talked about how like I was on antidepressants growing up, and I think that probably made it a little bit worse. It may have made it worse permanently. I don't know. But it's totally just like a natural quirk I have, I guess. And yeah, there's nothing I can really do about it. There is medications I can get put on. At one point I was prescribed a blood pressure medication to try and take it. I guess that's supposed to even out the tremor, but I took one dose and I felt like shit, and I was like, this is not worth it to me. I don't want to feel this way every day just to have steady hands. I would rather feel good and have shaky hands. It's fine. I've had it for so long that it honestly bothers other people a lot more than it bothers me. Like people point it out to me all the time, but I actually rarely notice it. So yeah, that's why. And I've actually had one subscriber a couple years ago who mentioned that her brother had the same thing and that he was really bothered when people asked him about it. And to be honest, I usually feel the same way. Like this comment for today's Q&A was so sweet. Like I'm not bothered by it at all, but I've gotten a lot of nasty comments about it on YouTube where people are like, what's wrong with your hands? Why are you acting like that? And like, I've had people ask me if I'm on drugs because my hands are shaking, or people assume I'm not eating. It's just crazy, but no, it's just a natural hand tremor. It's kind of boring, but it's part of who I am. Dream place to live. Ooh, honestly, I feel like I live in my dream place now. I love California. Like I always had the dream of moving to California. I have no idea why, but as a kid, I just was like, I want to move to California. And I am so appreciative of the scenery and the beautiful beaches and the opportunities out here, and the I don't know, like I see things where I live right now. It feels like a dreamland. Like I see things that I never envisioned seeing as a kid growing up. I never thought I'd be able to live in a place like that. However though, my dream place would be if I could take the beauty of SoCal and the weather of SoCal, and I could put it with the cost of living in Ohio and the family who is scattered throughout the country. I would love this place so much more if it were just a little more affordable, a lot more affordable, and if it had family. Like I really miss that, but right now we just don't want to move anywhere else. We love where we live. Ooh, what do you think is the biggest misconception your viewers and followers have about your life? Such a good question. Spicy. I think two things. I think one, a lot of people think I do YouTube as my full-time job. I do not. This is not my job. And so like I've gotten comments before about how like sometimes my content is inconsistent, or it's like not frequent, or like people think it's like, oh, YouTubers, blah, blah, blah. But like, I don't even consider myself a YouTuber. Like my following has grown a lot, but like, this is not how I make my income. So I think that's a misconception. And if my content isn't as consistent as I would like it to be, first of all, I agree. Like, I wish it was more consistent. Second of all, I'm a busy gal. I don't have all the time in the world because I do work and I have a son too. And I want to have some like sanity in my life. So I think that's a big misconception, is just that this is my job and I have like all the time in the world to devote to it, and I'm just not. I also think a big misconception I get from my followers is that I have it all together. So I get, even in here, I've gotten a lot of questions about like, how do you keep a clean house? How do you manage it all? How do you like balance everything? And honestly, I don't. Like, if you could see the room around me right now, you know what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna take a video and I'm gonna show you my view around me right now. This is my view. Like, my closet is broken and I still need to fix that. Hey, like I have stuff everywhere. And I need to clean this room and I have no time because right now filming this video is my priority. And it looks clean back here, but the front of me is wild. And so I just think like that's a big misconception. Not a bad one, but just, you know, people on the internet, they look like they have it all together and we don't. Like, life is crazy for us just the same. It's just that you only see the polished version and you don't see the chaos in front of you. So I think that's a big one, and hopefully I want to use this YouTube channel and also my Instagram as a place to like normalize normal life and help people know that like that's okay. That's normal. It's still beautiful. It's great. And like, we don't need these crazy polished expectations all the time. That's not realistic. It's not fair to us. I got some questions about what Christian eats in a day. I've actually had that request for a video too, so I'll be filming that as soon as I can too. I would love to get a like what a toddler eats in a day video out for you guys. So thank you for the requests and the questions. I will be sure to film that and let you guys know ASAP. Did you ever think about quitting breastfeeding? I think about quitting every day. So the only time I thought about quitting breastfeeding legit was when Christian went through his like bad biting phase, and I'll put my video up here for that as well. That was the only point where I was like, I don't know if I can do this, and I think we might be done, and I don't know if I have it in me. I would say if you think about quitting every day and you dread it, then do it. Like, don't feel like you have to keep doing it. It's okay. Like, breastfeeding, yes, it's healthy for the babies. Yes, it's like good for bonding, but you can bond with your baby and give them nutrition in so many other ways too. And I heard from a friend who, when she weaned her son, she knew it was time because it was becoming like a chore and it was becoming something she dreaded. And it became to a point where she was like, this is causing more anxiety than I'm getting out of it. Like, I'm not getting enough out of it to make the anxiety worth it. And I think if you think about quitting every day, then ask yourself if now is a good time to quit. And if you do, it's okay. Like, you shouldn't be living a life where it's similar to if you have a job where you hate going into the office, you dread your life when you're going to work, you have that pit in your stomach where it's like, oh, I wish I didn't have to go. It's probably time for a new job and you should probably start looking elsewhere. And I think the same goes for breastfeeding too, in my opinion. All right, guys, I feel like my voice is starting to go from talking so much, and I think I answered the bulk of the questions. A lot of them were the same, but if you don't follow me on Instagram already, definitely make sure you're doing that. And if there were questions that were asked that I didn't get to in this video, I'll answer them in my stories there as well. Thank you guys so much for watching. Also, feel free to leave me a comment and ask questions there. I'm an open book. I'm here to share and support you guys too. So thank you so much for watching. I'll see you guys in my next video. Bye.